Thank you very much. Hello to everyone. First of all, sorry for my English compared to the previous speaker. I'm Marco Paci. I'm in charge of laboratories, as said before, for geothermal and biomass power plant of Enel Green Power. And today I will speak about geothermal in Italy as an example of sustainability. First of all, I want to give you a brief overview about Enel company. Enel, here I report some number. Enel is the first network operator worldwide with more or less 70 million of end users. Enel, as Enel Green Power Company, is the world's largest private player in renewable with more or less an installed capacity of 43 gigawatt hours, including geothermal, biomass, hydro, and solar and wind. And Enel is the largest retail customer base worldwide, including a free and regulated market with more or less 64 million of customers. About Enel Green Power, especially about Enel Green Power in geothermal field, as you can see from this chart, the main geothermal field for Enel Green Power is located in Italy, in the Tuscany region, where more or less 37 power plants are in operation with a net power of 766 megawatt. Enel Green Power has also some power plants in North America, 2 in Nevada and 1 in Utah, and another in South America, in Chile, at Cerro Pabellon. There are also other projects ongoing, like the third unit in Cerro Pabellon, a new project in Indonesia, and so on. I'll go quickly. About Enel Green Power activity in Italy. As said before, 37 power plants are in operation with more or less 500 production and reinjection wells. These 37 power plants guarantee a yearly electric production of 5.7 terawatt hours, more or less, which cover the electric demand of the 30% of the entire Tuscany region. The geothermal activity in Italy, in Tuscany, involves also the presence of more or less 1,800 employees, including direct and indirect employees. Here I reported also some strength points about Enel Green Power in geothermal field. Enel Green Power is the biggest fully integrated geothermal operator, which means that Enel Green Power covers internally all the different phases of a geothermal project, from the resource assessment, drilling phase, design and construction of the power plant, and the operation and maintenance of the power plant. Enel Green Power is also proprietary of patented technologies like AMIS technology, which is used for the pollutants abatement in the geothermal gases. I want to give you some information also about the history of geothermal production. As you can see from the slide, the first geothermal power plant in Italy and in the world was realized in 1913, named the Larderello 1, with a power of 250 kilowatts. Then the second power plant was realized in 1937. Then during the Second World War, these two power plants were destroyed. And then the third power plant was realized in 1948, Larderello 3. Here I reported also some picture of famous scientists visiting the Larderello power plants. Marie Curie in the first picture and Enrico Fermi in the second one. Going forward, at the end of the 70s and the beginning of the 80s, some improvements have been implemented, like exploration and development of deep reservoir, the starting of the reinjection of the geofluid, and also the district heating. Then nowadays, as I said before, the 37 unit in operation guarantee a yearly electric production of 5.7 terawatt hours. An important activity from a sustainability point of view is represented by EMIS technology. As I said before, EMIS technology has been patented, developed internally by Enel Green Power, is used for the abatement of the pollutants, mercury and the HUS present in the gas phase of the geofluid. Here in this slide you can see the classic configuration of Italia geothermal power plant, where the steam coming from the production well passes through the turbine, then flows into the direct contact condenser. In the direct contact condenser, the condenser steam is separated from the gas phase, which is sent through the use of a multi-stage compressor to the AMIS plant. The AMIS plant consists of three main stages. The first one is the mercury absorption in a fixed bed reactor using activated carbon, for example. The second one is the catalytic oxidation of HUS to SO2 in another fixed bed reactor. And the third stage is the SO2 scrubbing in the liquid phase using sodium hydroxide in order to guarantee the abatement. The AMIS technology guarantees very high abatement efficiency and very high availability. Just to give you an overview of this technology, the first AMIS plant was installed in 2001 in Bagnore 3 power plant. Then in the following 15 years, this technology has been implemented in all the geothermal power plants in Italy. From this graph, you can appreciate the effect of AMIS technology implementation on the HUS-specific emission from the geothermal power plants, which passes from 6 grams per kilowatt hours in 2000 to less than 1 gram per kilowatt hours in 2015. Another example of the AMIS technology implementation effort is reported in this slide, where two maps of the Mount Amiata geothermal area air quality are reported. The first one related to the past scenario, where 6 power plants were in operation not equipped with AMIS technology. The second map is related to the current scenario, where 6 power plants are in operation with AMIS technology. As you can see, the maximum concentration, HUS concentration higher in the past scenario is higher, more or less 1 order of magnitude with respect to the HUS concentration in the current scenario. So it's evident the effect of AMIS technology implementation on the higher quality of the geothermal fields. Another very important activity from a sustainability point of view in the geothermal field is the heat supply chain. Thanks to the geothermal source, Enel Green Power is one of the most important Italian operators in district heating. The first district heating plant was put in operation in 1985. Nowadays, some district heating plants are in operation, which delivers yearly more or less 370 gigawatt hours of thermal energy at very low cost from a renewable source to more than 10,000 customers in Tuscany, including some municipalities, some greenhouse facilities, and other industrial activities in the food sector. Enel Green Power has also another district heating power plant not in Tuscany, but in Emilia-Romagna region near Ferrara city. This district heating plant delivers yearly 75 gigawatt hours of thermal energy for the heating of the Ferrara city. Other projects are ongoing in 2019, like district heating system in Radicondoli and Chiusdino municipalities and district heating system for La Rota and Aiole industrial area in the Amiata geothermal area. Here I reported some example of district heating in Tuscany. As I said before, Enel Green Power has some district heating plants which delivers thermal energy to 5 greenhouses where some kinds of flowers, some kinds of plants, or some kinds of vegetables are produced. And then another example is related to the food sector. The district heating plants of Enel Green Power delivers more or less 860 megawatt hours of thermal energy to this facility, to these farms, where typical Tuscany foods are produced, like ham, wine, cheese, beer, and something like that. Other initiative for geothermal source reuses are mainly focused on CO2 reuse. As I said before, the geothermal fluid in Italy, but in other geothermal areas worldwide, are characterized by a gas present, which mainly consists of CO2. This CO2 is not produced in the geothermal power plants, but derives from the underground, passes through the power plants, and then is emitted. Considering also that the geothermal area are naturally characterized by CO2 emission, geothermal CO2 emission from the soils, which derive from the underground, the most sustainable solution for a geothermal field exploitation is not gas reinjection, which is emitted from the soil, but it's reused for different applications. Here I reported 2 initiatives of Enel Green Power for geothermal CO2 reuse. The first one is related to spirulina production, which is a microalgae with a very high protein content, is a superfood. So in this initiative, we have evaluated the possibility of spirulina production using geothermal source like CO2 and heat. In the second initiative, Enel Green Power is seeking an agreement with, obviously, another company aimed to use geothermal CO2 for sparkling water and other drinks. Related to the first initiative was born from a concept, from an idea of circular economy, where essentially the steam coming from the production well, first of all, is used for power production. Then the gas is fed to the Amis plant, where the pollutants are abated. So the condensed steam at the outlet of the power plants and the purified CO2 are sent to the spirulina plant, where the CO2 is used as a carbon source for the spirulina growing. The condensed steam transferred its remaining heat at low temperature, more or less 40 Celsius degrees, to the spirulina plant, then is sent to the reinjection. Based on this idea, based on this concept, an experimental project has been carried out in collaboration with the University of Florence. In this project, a spirulina pilot plant has been realized near the Chiusdino geothermal power plant. And in this project, some tests has been carried out using geothermal source like CO2, hot water, and cold water. Here I reported the main results after 1 year of experimentation. Produces spirulina using geothermal source lead to a reduction of cost up to 30%, mainly related obviously to heating and CO2 costs, and lead to a production increase up to 20%. So based on these interesting results, 20 areas suitable for spirulina full-scale plant realization have been identified near geothermal power plants. Nowadays, one spirulina plant is under design and other projects are under evaluation. The impact of this project can be very important from a social point of view, because each spirulina plant requires more or less 5-8 workers, and also from an environmental point of view in terms of CO2 emission avoided. So basically, these are the main initiative of Enel Green Power in order to increase the sustainability and the acceptability of geothermal exploitation in Italy. Thank you for the attention.
I have a question for you too. I also have a question here, but first I want to hear anybody in the audience with a question? Gudrun here in the front, please throw the microphone.
Thank you. One question to future geothermal projects in Italy. Do you tend to go more to use the heat from a geothermal plant, or do you also plan to build new geothermal power plants?
Obviously, our plans as Enel Green Power is to increase the electric production, so our first goal is to increase the power side. But obviously, the geothermal source is suitable for heating, so I suppose that also the district heating part will increase in parallel.
Thank you very much. Any more questions? Oh, sorry. I'm not to push you around. If not, then thank you again, Marco, for your presentation.